New Frontier Craft 1.8.5 underscore 01. That's a little bit of a mouthful. We're just going to call it sub 1. I was hoping that I wouldn't do this, but I ended up deciding, you know what, I should probably do this. I had some crafting misalignments with the server and things that I should have changed in 1.8.5, and some small additions and bug fixes too. Starting off with the bug fix, which was I've fixed a bunch of crafting discrepancies between the client and the server. There's things that I wanted to change in 1.8.5 that I end up not changing. It seems to be the thing that I forgot to add in. There's something I always forget to add in, and that ended up being it. And that's also very important to the game because crafting recipes can greatly determine how people build. So not only did I change some crafting recipes into what I wanted them to be, but I've changed some crafting recipes into different crafting recipes because I thought it'd be better after seeing people play 1.8.5 for a little bit. Some examples of this is rails. The rails had a discrepancy in the server and in the client, and neither of them were the ones that I wanted. So a lot of the rails have gotten changed. Like the powered rail uses copper now, and also uses iron instead of gold. So it's a mixture of copper and iron. I also changed the texture to match that. The texture is not confirmed to be a finished texture because I think it looks a little strange because it's copper instead of gold. But we'll see how it works. Other things like I changed pistons, now they use aluminum. I changed signs, they can now stack and they'll be crafted in sets of 2. And there's other recipes like that, and I'll be updating the wiki with all the new recipes. There are other mild bug fixes in the background, like some texture tweaks. For example, I believe I made cobalt a little bit bluer in terms of hue, not in terms of saturation. And something that I actually added in this update, Dynamite. Now, Dynamite's purpose right now is just to be a crafting step, in a sense, where it doesn't actually serve any purpose outside of being a step in crafting. And what I mean by that is when you make dynamite, which that will be on the wiki, the crafting recipe for that, you will need 4 dynamite to make TNT now. TNT is now crafted with just dynamite. It's not just gunpowder and sand. It's going to have a lot more materials. TNT is going to be more expensive. But at the same time, TNT is going to be a lot more useful now. What I've done to all the ores in New Frontier Craft is I've made all their blast resistances much, much higher. TNT will be used to blast away stone to reveal ores, because ores will not drop, and then you can mine out the ores. So now TNT will be very effective in mining out clouds. If you want to get more pieces of a cloud that you found, like a larger copper cloud, or it's going to be very effective in iron clouds to blow out some of that stone. Stone's blast resistance I've lessened at the same time as TNT's explosion is like 2 to 3 times bigger. Yeah, it's actually going to have a purpose now outside of blowing up people's houses. Now this is the update we'll be launching with. Although it's got that 01 attached at the end of it, which again, I wanted it nice and clean. I wanted to release with 1.8.5, but I had to fix some bugs still. So we're going to stick with this alpha-like update format where it's going to be just underscore 0 something, or perhaps in the future underscore 1 something, but I don't think I'll ever go beyond 1 something, just like Notch never did. But it looks better than anything else I've found. I mean, I could do 1.8.5a, which is kind of nice, and I've used dev A, dev B, dev C, but at this point I think letters are just connected to devs, and I'm just going to make this the official versions, because this is an official release, not have letters. Now, this update is not the only purpose of this video. There's a couple of other things I need to talk about. Well, number 1 is launch. Launch. Launch is tomorrow. What the heck is launch? Launch is getting New Frontier Craft out there, whether that be the internet, whether that be your friend group. I don't care. Getting New Frontier Craft actually played by a decent amount of people. And through that decent amount of people, I'll be able to support myself with New Frontier Craft development if I continue on in the future. I've made a whole forum post about this crazy thing about New Frontier Craft's future and me trying to get a profit off it in a sense, because, I mean, it's been 3 years and all I've been doing is throwing money at the wall for this thing, so, you know, I'm getting anxious for this to somehow repay me, whether it actually be monetary value or even just a big community. I would be okay with that. Link to the forum post about that in the description. But more importantly than that, at the moment, is I'm making a big ad. Its purpose is to mirror the This Is Minecraft ad, and I'm going to call it This Is New Frontier Craft. But it adds its own twist to it because it's New Frontier Craft. You'll see. Link on that in the description too. Please give me some feedback in this video of what you think of that. So far I've gotten really positive feedback, and I mean we've put a lot of time into it. Also, once I post that video, that means New Frontier Craft is officially going into the launch state. That means do not be afraid to tell your friends about this. New Frontier Craft is basically ready for a bigger community to start coming in now. I still need to work a little bit in the background on the server, but that's about it. The server jar is not going to be released immediately, but hopefully I'll get it out to you guys within like 3 days. If not 4, but definitely 3 days. It's not going to take too long to get that thing ready. Hopefully by the beginning of next week we'll be seeing some serious differences. I'll be very active on the server again. Hopefully the server reactivates, because it is a little dead right now after the initial launch of 1.8.5. I'll start hosting building contests again. I'll start building some crazy stuff on the server for spawn. Hopefully we can start recording the server again. It's just a classic thing about servers, and I've always grabbed a couple of friends, recorded on the server, show off your guys' builds, because that's always been just a great part of this community. People like their builds being shown off on videos, and we like showing people's builds off on videos. It's just this loop of awesomeness. So that will also start going again, because that has not happened in forever. I'm going to wait a little while until I open up the Patreon. I mean, I don't want to make it look like I'm just, alright, Patreon open immediately. Let's launch and just get as many people in the Patreon immediately. That's not quite my goal. I'll open that up if growth is seeming to be a little bit slow on our current goals. So then the opportunity for that being a way that to continue New Frontier Craft will open up later in summer. Also, I suggest checking out newfrontiercraft.net. I hope to see you on that server.